Today, we're presenting a proposal for a 3D retro-wave roguelike racing game designed for PC, Xbox, and/or PlayStation. It combines fast-paced arcade racing with roguelike progression systems, creating an experience where every run is unpredictable, replayable, and progressively more challenging. The core concept of the game is based around racing on a looping track where the environment evolves every lap. As the player progresses, new obstacles, hazards, and enemy elements are introduced, increasing difficulty over time. Throughout each run, players can collect temporary power-ups, such as boosts, shields, or special abilities. However, in line with traditional roguelike design, these power-ups are lost when the player dies. Progression is driven by a permanent upgrade system. Currency earned during runs can be used to upgrade the player's base vehicle, allowing improvements to speed, handling, durability, and other core stats. This creates a strong sense of long-term progression, encouraging repeated attempts and mastery of the mechanics. At set intervals during the race, players encounter boss opponents or rival racers that act as difficulty spikes. These encounters test the player's ability to adapt to both the evolving track and the mechanics they have unlocked. The win condition for each level is reaching a specific lap and successfully defeating the final boss encounter. The lose condition occurs whenever the player crashes or is eliminated, at which point the run ends and the player restarts with only their permanent upgrades retained. Visually, the game uses a retro-wave neon art style. This aesthetic was chosen not only for its strong appeal within the indie market, but also for its feasibility for a small development team, as it allows for striking visuals using relatively simple 3D assets and lighting techniques. In the following sections, we will explain how we arrived at this idea, analyze the market opportunity, and outline a detailed launch and marketing strategy to demonstrate how this game could realistically succeed as an indie release. To understand where our game fits within the market, we analyze several successful indie titles that influence different aspects of our design. Dead Cells is a successful roguelite that demonstrates how run-based gameplay and permanent progression systems encourage replayability. While Dead Cells is a 2D action platformer rather than a racing game, its approach to difficulty scaling and progression heavily influenced our design. Our game adopts a similar philosophy where each run becomes more challenging over time and failure encourages the player to return stronger rather than punishing them completely. Distance is a futuristic arcade racing game known for its neon aesthetic and obstacle-driven gameplay. It demonstrates how environmental hazards and high-speed navigation can create tension and skill-based challenge. However, Distance does not feature roguelike progression systems, meaning its challenge remains largely static. Our game builds on this style of racing by introducing a difficulty escalation and persistent progression, increasing replayability. Hades showcases how narrative progression and repeated failure can be combined into a highly engaging roguelite experience. While our game does not focus on narrative, it adopts a similar loop of repeated attempts, incremental upgrades, and mastery through failure. By combining the progression systems of roguelite games such as Dead Cells and Hades with the high-speed obstacle-based racing seen in titles like Distance, our game occupies a space in the market that is currently underexplored. This allows us to target an existing audience while offering a distinct and original experience. Our ideation process began with group discussions around what type of game would both be engaging and realistic for a small development team. We identified 3 key goals early on: creating a game with high replayability, clear mechanical depth, and a scope suitable for potential new developers. We explored several early concepts including traditional arcade races and pure roguelike experiences. However, through discussion and initial research, we recognized that combining these 2 genres could offer a more unique and compelling experience. This idea was finalized because it balances creativity with feasibility. The roguelite structure also allows us to reuse environments while still increasing difficulty, and the arcade racing foundation provides an accessible core mechanic. Additionally, the retro-wave aesthetic supports rapid development while maintaining strong visual identity, making it a practical and market-aware choice. Our primary target demographic is players aged between 14 and 35 who regularly engage with indie games, roguelike experiences, and arcade-style gameplay. This demographic is particularly drawn to games that offer high replayability, short session lengths, and increasing challenge, all of which are core focuses of our design. Players within this age range are also highly active on digital platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Steam, making them accessible through online-first marketing strategies. Additionally, this audience shows a strong interest in retro and neon-inspired aesthetics, which are commonly associated with synthwave and arcade-inspired indie titles. By targeting this demographic, our game aligns with both current market trends and realistic player expectations for indie roguelite experiences. Our primary release platform for this game would be PC due to its strong support for indie development and its large audience for roguelite and arcade-style games. Releasing on PC allows for early access and rapid iteration, enabling us to gather player feedback, refine balance, and improve systems before a full release. Following a successful PC launch, the game would be well suited for console platforms such as Xbox and PlayStation. The core mechanics are controller-friendly and the arcade-style structure aligns well with console player expectations. A staggered release strategy allows development resources to remain focused while still offering long-term expansion potential across multiple platforms. This approach reduces initial risk while maximizing future reach, making it a practical and scalable launch strategy for an indie title. Our market research focused on the indie game space, particularly arcade-style and roguelike titles, which have seen significant growth in recent years. Roguelike games are especially popular due to their high replayability, short session lengths, and progression systems that encourage repeated play. We analysed several successful indie titles to understand current player expectation and market trends. Games such as Dead Cells demonstrate how permanent progression systems motivate players to encourage engaging with repeated runs even after failure. Meanwhile, titles like Distance and other arcade racing games show that fast-paced, obstacle-driven gameplay combined with strong visual identity can create intense and memorable player experiences. Through this analysis, we identified a gap in the market where roguelike progression systems are rarely combined with arcade racing mechanics. Most racing games offer fixed difficulty and limited long-term progression, while roguelike games typically exist in action or strategy genres. By merging these two approaches, our game offers a familiar structure to existing audiences while delivering a distinctive experience. This market opportunity is viable for an indie team, as both genres are proven independently and do not rely on large-scale production budgets. The use of a retro-wave aesthetic and modular track design further supports feasibility, allowing us to focus development time on mechanics and progression rather than high-cost assets. Our marketing strategy focuses heavily on social media, particularly short-form video platforms, as these are the primary discovery tools for our target demographic. Given the fast-paced and visual striking nature of our game, social media allows us to showcase gameplay in a way that is engaging, accessible, and highly shareable. Our primary platforms will be TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. These platforms favor short, high-impact clips and are particularly effective for promoting indie and roguelite games. Players within our target demographic actively consume gaming content on these platforms, making them ideal for organic discovery. The type of content we would post focuses on highlighting difficulty progression, replayability, and visual style. Examples of content include short clips comparing early and late game runs, boss encounter previews, obstacle escalation showcases, and short development updates. This approach allows us to consistently demonstrate what makes a game unique while encouraging engagement through challenge-driven content. In addition to organic social media marketing, we would collaborate with content creators whose audiences align with our genre. Creators such as It's Me Fizz and Cozy Tea Games are well suited to this project. It's Me Fizz frequently features roguelike and challenge-based games, while Cozy Tea Games focuses on indie development and behind-the-scenes content. These creators are realistic collaborators for an indie team and would likely produce content such as first impression videos, challenge runs, and short-form clips shared across multiple platforms. By combining regular social media content with targeted creator collaborations, this strategy maximizes visibility while remaining feasible for a small development team. It also supports marketing through development rather than relying solely on post-launch promotion. Our game is well positioned to succeed upon release because it aligns closely with current indie market trends while remaining realistic in scope for a small development team. By combining proven roguelite progression systems with fast-paced arcade racing mechanics, the game appeals to an existing audience while offering a distinctive experience that is currently underrepresented in the market. The focus on replayability, short session lengths, and escalating challenge encourages long-term player engagement, which is a key factor in the success of many indie roguelite titles. In addition, the retrowave visual style provides strong visual identity while supporting efficient development, allowing resources to be focused on gameplay quality rather than high-cost assets. Finally, the proposed launch and marketing strategy prioritizes community engagement and visibility throughout development, increasing the likelihood of building an audience prior to release. Taken together, these factors demonstrate that the game is not only creatively strong but also commercially viable and feasible as an indie release.